today we're going to be talking about open rates on emails. Okay, and really how to keep email open rates high, and the most simple and actionable process that we can do to do that. So, when a lot of us, when you join the coaching program, you migrate from a different platform, ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, Constant Contact. You migrate from these platforms and you come over to Momentum HQ. And during that migration, you're placing a lot of trust in Momentum HQ. You're placing a lot of trust in the fact that you can maintain the same relationship with your contacts that you had before you migrated to Momentum HQ. And some of us have struggled with that. And I want to explain why, and I want to explain what to do to make that happen. So first of all, I want you to know that we are kicking off an initiative to, on our side, on the technical side, support you guys as much as possible in open rates. So we're going to make sure that we are checking all of the technicals on open rates for your accounts, your SPF records, your DNS records, your MX records, everything that has to do with the technical side. You can trust Warrior Marketing Group, Toby, Martin, and I to handle that for you. You won't have to lift a finger to do that. But the actionable items that you have, I want you to know we have, that you have, I want you to be able to do. And by the way, Chris has an announcement. He says, I have snow shovels for sale for everybody who is not here in Florida with me. Amanda from Center Shot said that her emails are going to spam, and that's what we're going to talk about today is open rates and maintaining open rates. So I'm going to break it down into three things that are actually going to keep open rates high. This is hard work. And these three things that I'm going to be talking about today are easy to remember and they're easy to do. But just like anything else, it's about putting in the reps, right? It's about putting in the reps. So first of all, I want you to know when we dive into email open rates is that email open rates themselves are an unreliable metric in 2026. So the reason that email open rates are an unreliable metric is largely to do with Apple iPhones. For those of you, and by the way, if you have an iPhone, let me know in chat. I want to know who has an iPhone versus who is on the side of freedom and has an Android, because I find it interesting the amount of people that are on iPhone, and I'm just curious if you have an iPhone. Daphne says she has both. But if you have an iPhone or an Android, let me know in chat what you guys have. So open rates are largely unreliable on your emails in 2026. And the primary reason is that the iPhone and Android, thank you. Thank you, Marv. The iPhone and the Android, they really are going through this privacy craziness where they don't want to share data like the rest of normal civilization. And so open rates on the iPhone are actually inflated artificially high, because a lot of the times they're just reporting back intentionally to deceive on open rates, on clicks, and things like that. So because open rates are not reliable, we do need to have a more reliable metric. A more reliable metric are clicks or actions taken or replies or responses. Okay. But I want you to know that if your open rate is higher than you would expect or lower than you expect, yeah, glance at it, but it is not the be all end all of email marketing. The be all end all is results or our results. Okay. So there are three actions that each of us can control. There are, and most of us have iPhones. That's wild. There are three actions that we can take to really control whether our emails are going to go to spam or not. And the number one way to stay out of people's spam is to send your emails to the people who want them. Okay. And what I mean by that is we all have an email list of 6, 7, 8, 12, 20, 30,000 people. And what most of us do is we send an email out to the entire list every time. And so what's happening is if you on average have a 20% open rate and you have 100 people on your email list, 20 of those 100 people actually want your emails. The other 80 are not as interested. And yet we're sending mass emails to all these people that don't want our emails. And so the number one way to make sure that you're sending your emails to people who want your emails is to number one, cultivate a list of people. Number one, cultivate a list of people who want your emails. So one of the ways that we're doing that across the board is we're creating ads that are sending people to an email list. So we've got an ad and it says, hey, if you're interested in firearms, firearm trainings, blah, 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 click here and we'll send you an email. And so when they sign up for that, they are indicating that they want your email. And then it's really, really important for us to make them go and check their spam to get that email out of spam. The number one in my career, in 12 years of doing this, in 2026 is still true. The number one thing that's going to keep your emails out of spam is that if the first email that they get from you is if it does land in their spam, that they go get it and they bring it to their inbox. After that, from that point forward, you are almost certain to not get your emails to land in their spam. And so a lot of us have migrated from Momentum, from MailChimp or ActiveCampaign or whatever to Momentum HQ. And we're saying, oh my gosh, all these people that used to get our emails, now our emails are ending up in spam. Yes, because when you connect your domain or add a new domain to Momentum HQ, that new domain is brand new. So Google, Yahoo, AOL, nobody knows that that domain is connected to your business. So it's starting over from scratch. And so what we need to do in that process is if you are migrating from MailChimp, Constant Contact, some other platform to Momentum HQ, only migrate people who have opened your emails in your system number one, who have opened your emails within the last 90 days. Only migrate those people to begin with. And then start warming up your email list with those people, okay? So first and foremost is we want to be sending to people who want your emails. The best way to do that is to, during that migration, make sure the migration is happening only with people who have opened and engaged with your emails in 90 days. And then from that point forward, run ads to people expecting to get an email from you. So your ad is saying, sign up for this email, get this email, download it. We're going to email it to you, whatever the case may be. Have them go and look at it and open that email. The second part of sending to people who want your email is that once you are migrated to Momentum HQ, people lose their passwords to their emails. They sign up for a new email inbox because their email got full. They migrate to a new email address because they get so much spam mail at email number one, and so they create a brand new one. So it is essential for list maintenance to follow rule number one, send to people who only want your emails, is to constantly only send emails to people who have opened within 90 days. Because people who haven't opened within 90 days, that pretty much by default means they don't want your content. They don't want your email. And so we should purge them. We should get rid of them, get them out, right? My motto in a lot of this is buy or die, right? Either they're going to buy from you or they should get lost and you don't have to send them emails anymore and they don't bring down your sender reputation. Okay. So a couple of ways to send to people who only want your emails. Number one, run ads specifically to get people to sign up to your email for content that they want from you so that they search for that first spam mail email that might land in a spam. They move it to their inbox. And then from that point forward, it'll be in their inbox. Number two, only email people who have been active within the last 90 days. Number three, if you're migrating from another system to Momentum HQ, only migrate people who have been active in the last 90 days. The second point, okay, is I want you to send like a human, not like a machine. One of the things that I've gone through with my book, I ship books every single day. And what I've found is that just like emails, the vast majority of people who buy my book never read it. Just like the vast majority of people who buy my online Facebook course never take the course. The vast majority, people just don't. And so what I have been doing with this book is I used to send it in a very generic mailer. Now I send it in this mailer. And this mailer says, warning, this book will change. I can't read it backwards. Warning, this book will change how you grow your firearm training business. Okay. And now they get the package and it's in the mail like this. Okay. So I'm optimizing for my open rate. I'm optimizing for my open rate. And for you, you've heard 1,000 times that you really need to focus on your subject line. You've heard 1,000 times in order to get your email opened, You've got to get that subject line right. What I want you to do is, just like I'm packaging up my book package as a package, right? And I'm trying to entice people to open the package. I want you to think about that as your email. So when you're trying to optimize email, I want you to realize that the subject line is your packaging, and the subject line needs to really be enticing for that user, that individual user, to open their email. And a lot of us, what we'll do is we'll just go to ChatGPT and we'll say, all right, give me an email. And I do this. You guys do this. And a lot of times we just copy and paste that email. But if we want the best possible email in 2026, I got to ask you guys, if you knew that I was writing you a letter and I was using ChatGPT to write that letter, would you want that letter? Or would you want me to write a custom handwritten letter straight from my heart? Right? And I want you guys to answer this in chat. Would you want a letter that was written from ChatGPT, or would you want a custom handwritten letter that I wrote from my heart? So everybody's saying custom. Grant or Remy said better in cursive. Everybody's saying custom, handwritten, right? Handwritten custom. So your customers are the same. Guys, they can recognize when we put things through ChatGPT. And we're here in, January, February 2026. Imagine in a year from now when everybody has ChatGPT and everybody's can recognize those signs and those, and so I really feel that the way for us to do emails and the way for us to build content and relationships is to use ChatGPT to come up with groundwork and formatting, but then go and build it from the heart. So you can save time with ChatGPT, but you've got to remove the emojis. You've got to remove the big long line slash that it does. I hate that stupid little line slash that it does. It's not even a button on the keyboard. You guys know what I'm talking about, where it just like has like a 7-character line and then it does mirrored phrasing, and it says things like, you don't just want to send an email, you want to change the world, right? And it does mirrored phrasing. Like, people recognize this now, and people don't want that from you. So we need to send like a human and be human. So in 2026, where everything is going to be AI, if we want to be the best marketers and have the best foot forwards, we need to be that refreshing, non-AI, use AI to generate the framework and then go to the basics on what you know about what they're going to want to hear from you. Kurt says, I asked for conversational at 8th grade reading level. Do you think that actually works? No, Kurt, I don't write anything at 8th grade level. That's much too high. I write all of my content. I write my book at 3rd grade reading level. Because I want to reach the maximum amount of people possible. So I write at 3rd grade reading level. No joke. That's how I write. And so I do encourage you to do that, to do the same. I do encourage 3rd grade reading level. And so to make every email, to send like a human, right? Imagine a friend who never texts you. They want that personalized text message. Hey, Chris, I was just thinking about you. Andy, how's the suppressors going? Charlie, I remember that you got Facebook hacked. How's that going? Right. So like the personalization matters. And then, the second element of writing like a human is getting rid of the technical ChatGPT BS, like the emojis and the dashes and things like that. Super important. In any of my, I used to use them when ChatGPT first came out because nobody recognized it. But now if I see an ad or I see somebody on YouTube and they're clearly using a ChatGPT video script, I leave. And that's going to happen more and more and more and more. And so for me, for my mail pieces, the first step was getting them to open it. And the second step was getting them to actually read the book. And so what I used to do was I used to have a support letter that I created that was really generic. It said, Dear instructor, you've just bought the #1 marketing book in the firearm industry. If you want to grow your business, read this book now, yada, 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 yada. And I was realizing that, yeah, I did have an increase in people who opened the package, but I didn't have as much increase in response because I didn't get people to actually open the book and read it with that generic letter. So now I have created a custom GPT where when somebody buys my book, I go and I look up that instructor, and I do this by hand. I look up that instructor and I go to their website, go to the about page, and I take everything that I learn about them within 5 or 10 minutes, and I put it into this GPT, and it writes me a custom letter for them. And it brings in their background, their experience, and then I go over and I annotate it line by line. And I am spending the time to do that, to personalize the email to each and every one, the letter that's written in the book to each and every firearm instructor. And the reason that I'm bringing up this now in this email text is because I am getting every single day emails and text messages from people, and they say, "Hey, thank you for the personalized letter. That was a really nice touch. I can't wait to read your book." I'm getting more people scheduling on my calendar. And I just had earlier today, I had a strategy call with a guy named Caleb. And Caleb said, very first thing he said is, "I scheduled a call with you today because you customized a letter to me." And that meant a lot to me. And so when you think about the value of personalization on this rule, send like a human, not like a machine, the more that you can personalize your email to your customers, the better they're going to feel about it. And so when we're thinking about an email, like what can we do to personalize the emails? Well, we have tags based on each one of these people. So we have a tag. Did they take class 1? Did they take class 2? Are they a guy? Are they a girl? And so what we can do is we can come up with automations like, on Shawnee's, upcoming event. And we can come up with a really custom automation that if they are a first time shooter, they get this version of the email. And it brings in some of those tags and it brings in some of that content. We can customize our emails on a large scale by using automations that if they have this tag and this tag, give them this version of the email. If they have this tag and this tag, give them this version of the email. Because what matters in 2026, what's going to happen with AI is that there's going to be a hyper movement of personalization. Because AI can create a massive amount of content very fast, the content that is mass generated is going to just be recognized and deleted and unsubscribed from in a way that we've never even seen before. If you think it's hard to get emails opened and read right now, imagine what it's going to be a year from now or 2 years from now when all of these people that never entered the game before can just go to ChatGPT, generate an email, and send it out. People are going to get wise to it and they're not going to want it. So there is going to be a mass movement to hyper personalization. And this should be something that we are doing in our automations and our emails, and we're segmenting out our list so that when it comes to Friday and we want to send our email every Friday or whatever the case may be, I send an email out to my list Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week. And I have massive amounts of different segments that each get a different version of that email so that we can hyper personalize that. That's something that Toby does for me every week. And you guys need to be coming up with those types of segmentations also so that we can hyper personalize and personalize that response. So send like a human, not like a machine. This is huge. And number 3, okay, the last thing that we can do that is super actionable for you guys. This is not the technical side of things that my team handles inside of Momentum HQ. This is what you can handle. The last thing we can do is send emails worth opening. We are not just going to send an email because it's Friday. We're not just going to send an email because that's what we do on Wednesdays. We're going to send emails that are worth opening to our contacts. And what that means is high value emails. So what I like to do, just some quick, dirty tips, right, is I like to do give-ask ratio. What I mean by the give-ask ratio is that when I'm producing content, I like to have 3 gives for every ask. This is a 3x give-ask ratio. So I'm just giving content for free without asking for anything. Just give. Then I ask, right? So it's going to be 3 emails back to back with just high quality, valuable information. For those of us who are shooting ranges, okay, here's a drill that you can run at our range on, and we challenge you to run that drill within the next 7 days. 3 of those. And then the 4th email is, hey, I noticed that you didn't, you've been on our email list a long time, but you haven't joined our range. Would love to just, have a quick chat and see why you are not, joining the range, right? Is there something we could do better? If you're a firearm instructor and you've got an automation, give 3 emails back to back that are, an email here, an email there, an email here that are give. And then the fourth email be an actual offer where they can buy something. So the give to ask ratio, I want to have 3 separate independent emails for every one offer that I send. And then from there, I also want replies. Okay. So down and dirty tips, you want replies from your people. So almost every email that I send, I literally have a question at the bottom. So you guys are familiar with the 7-day email series. Sign up for, firearm training skills that you can run at home. It's an ad that we have on Facebook. So people are opting into our email list. One of the best ways to increase your open rates, by the way, is that people are signing up for this 7-day email series and then going to their email and looking for that email. So at the bottom of every drill, I ask them independently. I say, hey, let me know how this drill went. And I say that at the bottom of each one of these emails. Hey, did you get this email? How did the drill go? Was there anything challenging about this drill? I just ask one line question and I get people to respond. So your give ask ratio 3 times, you want replies from people, huge. The more people reply to your emails, the more likely it is that they're going to be not in spam in the future. And you're increasing your, okay. So another is SMS for email. Okay. So when people sign up for the 7-day email series, the very first thing I do is I send them a text message saying, hey, go look for this email. Literally, I send them a text that says, you were emailed, go look for it. So the very first email that somebody ever gets from your business should be accompanied with a text that says, I sent you an email, go look for it. And that text should be getting them to go search for that email. And I don't care what business you have. I see Tammy in the call, which is awesome, right? Tammy, if somebody signs up to your email list in some fashion, text message, I just sent you an email. So we could do all of our business work in text message. We could. We'd never have to email. But texting is expensive. It's like 4 cents a text. Email is like 0.00004 cents a text, right? It's like 1/10,000th of a cent or something ridiculous. So every time that somebody first gets an email, their very first email from your business, it should also have a text message that tells them to go check their spam for that email. But guess what? If that email is being sent to people who don't want your email, or it's being sent and it doesn't sound like a human, or it's not an email worth opening, it doesn't matter if they go and find it in their spam at all. It doesn't matter. They're not going to open your next one. You guys can see a pattern with everything that we do in the marketing game is that it needs to be high quality and we need to be going after that human, right? And so these 3 techniques, using the give ask ratio, asking for a reply in the email that you send, I don't care what email that you send, ask for a reply, and sending an SMS for the open and instructing them to go look in spam. These will do wonders for your email list. And then, of course, is another option there as well. When you send to 90-day engaged, that's going to be your most responsive list. Okay. And then there's one other element that I want to talk about. So in the way that Momentum HQ works with your domain name, okay, there's 2 ways that your domain name is connected to email servers. Okay. There is a shared domain and then there's a private. And so on the email side of Momentum HQ, what we do as a business, what Warrior Marketing Group does is we pay a third party to manage the emails. And that third party has us on IP addresses that thousands of other businesses use. And part of your sender reputation comes from that shared IP address. And the reason that we do that is because it's massively expensive to have your own private IP address. It's like $60 a month. For those of you who want to spend the $60 a month, you absolutely have that option in Momentum HQ to upgrade from a shared IP address to a private IP address through Momentum HQ so that you're the only one that affects that sender reputation. There are pros and cons to that. Pros are you are no longer at fault or affected by the unscrupulous businesses that are dragging down the shared IP address reputation. So you are independent of all that. You have your own, you are in control of your future. The most major downside of that, besides the $60 a month, which I think is, a nominal cost, but if everybody was on that, Momentum HQ couldn't be what it is every month. It would have to be $60 more, right? Which is why we use a shared IP. But the other downside of that is that if you're not very good at the email marketing game, that shared IP address is actually bringing up your open rates based on domain reputation across the IP. If I had the choice, I would recommend that everybody in this room secures a private IP address through Momentum HQ. And I don't make any money off that. That goes straight to the third party. But the reason that I recommend that to you is because then you're in control of your own destiny much more than using the shared IP. But if you can't justify the $60 a month or whatever it is, I think it's somewhere around $60 a month, upgrading to a private IP address, then use these best practices for your shared. The best possible outcome is for each person in this room to get on that private IP address for your account so that you are in control of your own destiny. But if you don't want that expense, then we're going to use these best practices to increase our open rates as much as possible on the shared IP. Okay. So that's what we have for today's open rates